Well, thanks for hopping on with me, Brent. I mentioned earlier, I just kind of wanted to get to know you and get to hear your journey with faith and fitness, get to hear about Armed and All Heart. One thing that really stood out to me was your brand, a ministry connecting, really helping struggling youth. So I'd love to hear kind of how you connected faith and fitness and youth, and you could start as early as you want to start, from birth till now or 10 years ago, or where does your journey with faith and fitness start?
Well, it started because I grew up in, I was basically, since as far as I can remember, I was put in special education because I've
Okay.
always struggled with, I was always told that I was a slow learner and I always had a difficulty picking things up. So that's always been a struggle with me even till now. I'm always like the Rudy. I'm always the I explain it like this. If if you're given instructions to a test and they say, okay, we're going to give you the instructions right here on how everything is done and write everything out and explain it to us how you do it.
Hmm.
I have trouble with reading comprehension on how to actually put something down to actually show you. I'm more of a hands-on person. I'm more like I can apply it after somebody else shows me how to do it.
Yeah.
But trying to give details on how to do something, I'm still figuring out, you know, putting my name on the paper while everybody seems like they're done with the test and they're putting the pencil down because
Hmm.
they know mentally how to just describe things a lot faster than it would take me a good 10 minutes just to figure out how to think about how I'm going to tell you how I did it.
Yeah.
It's much easier saying, okay, in the gym wise, I'm going to show you step by step in the gym how I did a bench press
Hmm.
than getting a book out and putting step by step how I did it. Because, it's just going to be faster and it just takes me longer to process things. Just like now on this camera, I'm
Yeah.
I'm processing what I want to say and how I want to say it because it's gonna take a little time to
Sure.
how with the questions and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing great. I think that makes sense where if you have to describe instructions to somebody, it's different than being in the gym and it's like, okay, here's a barbell. I can grab this barbell and I can do a bench press versus having to like tell somebody and write it out and give them instructions on how to do it. I'm curious, when you were a kid, were you ever diagnosed with anything?
uh
If you feel comfortable sharing that.
yeah. See, it's more or less just I just always been. I don't think I had seizures when I was little. So they said that I had, I would space out and think that things were going a lot faster. Like, I mean, they said that I would think that a class was only 5 minutes long when actually it was like an hour. I
Mm,
mean,
okay.
so I never saw myself like that. But then as I grew up and understood that it was going to take me a lot longer than a normal person to process things,
Yeah.
then I understood maybe where that came from. And it was, even now, it's even my job. I am very, I have to, I tell my bosses Okay, okay, we had a meeting on it. Now somebody's going to have to
Hmm.
get the instruction manual out and actually walk me through the process step by step, watching me do it, or actually watching me watch them do it, and then they watch me do it, and then I got it.
Yeah.
You just can't put a book down and say, "Here, Brent, this is what we're doing today. Goodbye," because
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like anxiety attacks. It's I'm gonna be like, because that puts me thinking, okay, I'm stuck and I have nowhere to go,
Yeah.
and and then after that, it's gonna be, I just no, because I gotta see it. I gotta know. I have to have a mind's picture of it before I can do it.
Yeah. I,
Once,
I'm
yeah,
I've watched videos of you on X working out, and I've watched a little bit of your YouTube channel. And it's cool because you move really well. Like your bench press looks good. Like all of your movements look really clean. You look like you know what you're doing, which is awesome. Are you, when you're learning movements and things like that, when you first started working out in the gym, what was that like? Did you watch YouTube? Did you read books and look at pictures of how to do it? What was that process like for you?
actually, I have to say yeah, I have to say when most of my learning does come from YouTube
Okay.
because that's how it started. That's how Armed and All Hard actually came about because well, even before that, I saw a statistic. I think it was it two, I always forget the date. I think it was like 2013. I was watching the news and I saw a statistic that said 256 suicides of youth alone in central Pennsylvania. And
Wow.
I was like, wow, just 256 alone in our area.
Hmm.
And that's way too many. And I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of people, not just youth, but there's probably a lot more, that was a youth total. And that's just way too many youth. And I put myself in where I've always struggled with certain things like learning. And then I was bullied for being slow learner. And I was like, no, I mean, I gotta, something's gotta give I have to be able to help in a certain way. So I came up with the idea of a ministry back in 2000 well, it started around 2008, even before I saw the statistics in 2013.
Okay.
I was doing social media ministry when there was just MySpace.
Hmm.
Like I put my testimony out and I was reaching out to as many people as I could. And back then it was called the Healing Hug. I
Okay.
had a logo drawn out and that was the ministry. Then once I started getting on YouTube and I knew what it was, and other people were encouraging me to do more videos, they said, man, you could probably really promote your ministry more if you put it on video. I was like, I'm not a video kind of guy. I get tongue tied. I get too nervous. I don't like being in front of people and I don't like video. And that's not me. But people at the time talked me into it. I saw a lot of YouTubers just starting out, and I'm thinking, well, if they can do it, I probably get a lot more people if I put myself out there. So then in 2015, after I saw 2 years later, after I saw the statistic, and YouTube came around, and I got familiar with it, then that's when I brought my ministry to YouTube, not just social media like MySpace and Facebook and Instagram. I think it was MySpace first, and then it was Instagram, and then got into YouTube a little bit, and then not till Twitter a little bit later. But yeah,
Yeah, you went from someone who didn't like doing videos to 641 videos on YouTube.
yes,
That's pretty neat. That's a cool story. I love the brand. I love the ministry. I love the idea of uh, helping struggling youth. through your shirts. On your YouTube, it says at the same time, encourage and inspire everyone to be their best selves, mentally, physically, and most of all, spiritually. We talked a little bit about mentally what that journey has looked like for you, physically and spiritually. I'd love to hear some of your physical journey. It looks like you got some gym videos and some weight loss videos posted. I'd also really like to hear your testimony, hear where how you came to the faith and hear your spiritual journey.
Yeah, well, that all became back. Everything's tied to the youth. I mean, everything's tied to where I used to be as a youth, struggling with weight, struggling with being picked on all the time because you're slow, Brent. You're fat. You're not gonna be able to keep up with the rest of the kids. You're not gonna be able to go to college. Just forget. I mean, just you're always gonna be catching up. You're not gonna get to where everybody else is. So so yeah, back in so yeah, even that followed me through college because my best friend at the time was going to college. So I was like, well, he's going. I want to try it too, even though I really wasn't. I'm not the wasn't the college type, and I had to work really hard just to graduate college. I had to really apply myself. I was in that study hall. They had um, a tutoring center. I had to practically live in the tutoring center. I had to practically live in the library. I really had to focus because, like I said, I can't be have a lot of distractions. I gotta if I gotta learn stuff, I gotta really hunker down. So that's how I survived that. And I mean, but still, that whole journey of just followed me. But now I just lost my place. What did? Yeah, and then
Finishing college and struggling through that and working hard and I can imagine that applies to the gym and applies to things like physical fitness and weight loss.
yeah, and I wasn't always as gung ho on the gym as I am now. Like really, I'm really dedicated now because I have a lot more goals. Back then, my goal was just try to get in shape to impress women, to impress girls.
Yeah.
So just try to be not the fat, slow kid that all the jocks said I was always going to be. I wanted to prove myself that I could be more than that. And so in college, that still haunted me with all that you never be to where I would be drinking. I got into like drinking and like on the weekends and parties and stuff to where I was just literally passing out.
Mm.
And I didn't just because all I heard was, in my head still that you're not going to be nothing. And it wasn't until, and here's where Jesus comes in. Um, my parents always believed in getting me to church. Ever since I was little, whether I didn't feel good or not, you were going to church
Mm.
and got me in the rotation. And so you can imagine I'm being bullied, I'm being picked on, I'm told you're no good. So so I would go to church, but I wasn't being present in church. I didn't want to hear gospel. I was just waiting, counting seconds to wait until it was over.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there. So I came home after graduating college. I graduated, I worked my butt off, but I was still unfulfilled. And I started going out applying what I learned and trying to look for a job and forget it. I couldn't find nothing to save my life. So, make a long story short, I saw a mirror that my mother had, and it said, "Acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path." And I was like, I'm at my final rope. I'm drinking myself on the weekend still. I'm not being able to find a job. Okay, we're gonna try
Mm.
this Jesus. So so I went down and I said, Jesus, if you're so real, prove it to me that you're real. I will give you my life if you can help me with this job thing and just change my life. And I don't know if it was an hour or two. My aunt called me for a job. She said, "There's a job answering phones. It's not much. I know you've been struggling, but you got to be really. It's out there if you want." I said, "Sure, I'll give it a shot." I've been, I was gophering for my dad. I was, which he had an electrical company at the time, so I was helping him out. And I tried different jobs. It just didn't never worked out. I would struggle. I couldn't pick up things. But then this job that my aunt, after I prayed, I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I just prayed that. And then that can't be coincidence. So after that, I went back to my parents' basement, and I was like, I think, wow, God just did something. I feel different. And I said, okay, Lord, I hear you. I'm gonna give you my whole life. I want to change. I want to be a perfect person. I'm not a perfect person, but I want to be a better person. And just I want to take you for who you are. Just I want to be saved. I want to just and I was in tears, and I don't know what else I prayed, but I just
Mm.
knew that I wanted to be a part of God's family, and I wanted Jesus to change my life. So I think it was that same week, and I listened to I was finally listening to sermons. It was like weird because I was going to church now, and I was actually listening to what the preacher was preaching on. So happy that the preacher there was a visiting preacher, and he was talking about. He said he said something that blew my mind, and he said, "Church is not a country club for saints, but a hospital for sinners." I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" I was like, "No, what? Wait a minute. All my life I've been told you got to be here, you got to do this, you got to be on, you got to come to church. No ands, ifs, or buts. Wait a minute. I was told I have to dress nice all the time to be at church. You got to, sit up straight, listen to the sermons." But I was like, wow. So so Jesus really spoke to me that in that sermon, that I was like, all my imperfections, and Jesus wanted to love on a sinner like me. He knew that I wasn't perfect, but he wanted me to be part of a family. And that just blew my mind. We're here for I was coming to church this whole time, and this whole time it was about loving on the sinner, loving and becoming more like Jesus, and not trying to search for perfection like I thought it always was, because that's why I developed an attitude even in college and through my whole life that you have to be perfect, you got to be athletic, you got to be perfect, perfect, perfect. Jesus is even churches, you have to be a country club, you have to be perfect even at church.
Yeah.
That wasn't what it was about. God put a pulling on my heart. And that service, I don't know if it was that service or another service, but I was walking out of the service, and one of my uncles that I've never seen him giving hugs before. You know, there would be people at my parents' church that would always give you hugs, but my uncle, a welder, strong man, really, man's man. I mean, tough, rugged. You never see him giving hugs. But this day, I was walking out of church, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, from behind, This man gives me the biggest hug I've ever received. And he says, I love you. I love you. What? Like, it's almost like Jesus saying, welcome to the family. Like you finally get it.
Yeah.
And that's where the healing hug came from. That whole
Mm.
when I received that, I knew I was a part of something special.
Yeah. Yeah. The healing hug. I love that. I love that story. There's a good story behind that. I mean, that's compelling. Armed and all heart. So take me from healing hug to armed and all heart. How did that transition happen?
Well, after I started my YouTube channel and I wanted to make it about fitness because all the YouTubers I followed were all about fitness and improving their life and getting into their best self. And I wanted something a little bit more edgy than the healing hug, and people didn't understand when I would tell them that I had a YouTube and it was fitness, but the name was a healing hug.
Ah, okay.
Okay, kind of soft. So I wanted something a little bit more like you could put, you could apply the fitness aspect with the spiritual aspect, and you would get it if I told you it was something other than a healing hug.
Yeah.
So, so there was a book out, a devotional called Armed and Dangerous.
Okay.
And so I said, well, everybody's told me ever since I got saved that I had one of the biggest hearts around. Of course, that's not me, that's Jesus within me.
Hmm.
I can never take that credit, that's Jesus. But everybody's told me, man, you have one of the biggest hearts. You just love everybody, don't you? And I said, okay, well, I want to have a channel that's armed to make people better and to be something that's everybody's told me I could never be. And I want to arm people with faith. And I want to arm people with fitness. And I want them to be able to take on life with all their heart. There it is. Armed
Yeah.
and all heart.
I love it.
That's what I want. That's what my new channel name's gonna be. So that's what I changed it. I think it was I didn't think I officially changed it to like 2016.
Okay.
I started my I started my YouTube channel in 2015. Didn't change the name till 2016. And
Okay.
then I also when I changed the name, I also talked to some freelance graphic designers to get a cheap price on a logo that would be officially mine after they developed it. And I had a panel of people that came together to pick the best logos. And when they were all said and done, that's when this logo was born. And it wasn't until a couple of years later that I met, or was it? I forget. I think it was until, yeah, I don't know what the date. If I had, I don't know. I'm really bad with dates, but it wasn't too long after that. I hooked up with Advanced Supplements, and I met the owner, and he said he watched my channel and he loved what I was doing, and I said, well, I've been producing my own shirts, but since my wife struggles with bipolar disorder and we're not really, I'm really don't have financial stability to produce shirts. I was wondering if you would be interested in producing our shirts and then you would get a certain percentage of the production, and also you could put your Advanced Supplements logo on the shirt too to get some marketing and everything. I know I've already talked to a bunch of other people. They said that's ridiculous. That's a bad idea. But I'm gonna I wanted to know if that would be something you'd be interested in. And the advanced supplements owner, Trevor, said, I love it. Let me do some markups. Let me go back and see what the pricing would be and see what we can do. And so he produced a couple shirts and he put them out in the store, and I was able to convince a lot of people to buy them. And I guess within a couple of months we were sold out. And he said, "Well,
Hmm.
we sold out, so why don't we produce more?" I was like, "Okay." So he says, "As long as you keep selling them out, I'll keep producing them." And that's how that came about.
I love it. When you connect with youth, is it primarily through social media? Do you have like a youth group at a church that you're connected with that you bring into the gym? So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, see, I used to be there. Used to see when I started my YouTube, I used to have a church that had a really strong community base and strong youth center.
Okay.
And there used to be a lot of people that ran it, but because of financial struggles and because they couldn't keep it going with the hours they used to do, it has, it has fault. It's they have less hours now and they can't make it as they can't make I can't make it work.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you're still connecting with people online though. I mean, we follow each other on X, and I've connected with you and watching a YouTube video. So you're still connecting with people. It might not be youth,
yeah.
but you're still reaching people for sure. Is there other than X, you're on Instagram, YouTube. Is there a website for Armed and All Heart? Where can we find you?
Yeah, I don't yeah, I was see, I wish I was more financially stable or I'd be doing a lot more.
Yeah.
It's always been a dream to be a lot more, but we're just on like, is what we get from donations and whatever we
Okay.
try, but yeah, I don't have a actual website.
Okay.
Um, why we sell all our stuff off of advancedsupplements.com,
Okay.
and only my shirts go to charity. I picked a Christian charity to give the money to. It's called RemedyLIVE, and they do a lot of stuff with the youth. They have like a they have like call centers, and they go to schools to talk to the youth, and they even have a studio and everything. So that's more where the connection with the youth comes. It's been a really struggle over the
Yeah.
you know past couple years because it's and I really get discouraged sometimes, but then God keeps pulling me back in. So yeah, I have Sport Armed and All Heart on Facebook. I have a Facebook page,
Okay.
and then I have my uh, I'm on X and uh, but for Armed and All Heart itself, it's just I have a support page on Facebook, and I have the YouTube, and then I have uh, advanced supplements site where they
Okay.
sell my brand. But other
When
than
I
that, I don't really have anything.
Well, when I post this episode, I'll try to put some links to all your social medias and all the places I can find you. I'll link to it too. Um, what's your favorite movement in the gym, Brent? Bench press, deadlift, squat. What do you like doing?
Uh, well, deadlift's always been my bread and butter.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's and that's where I've lifted the most weight, and
Yeah.
you know, but I've always had my struggles with. It's funny because I have thrown on my back before with bad form, but that's always become from. You would think that's had to be from when he was deadlifting over 400, 500 pounds. No, no, actually not. It's
Hmm.
actually my form has been off just a hair, and I was like doing like deadlifting 90 pounds or,
E-
you know,
exactly. I
or
coach I
5 pounds.
coach yeah, I coach at a gymnastics facility in the evenings, and we do deadlifts once a week, and I always tell the kids like be careful, and they're deadlifting like 75 pounds, and I'm like that's when you hurt yourself is when you're doing the light weights. It's almost never the heavy weight because I always hurt myself going too fast. It's never too heavy, it's always too fast. Um, I do a lot of body weight stuff, a lot of cardio combined with weight training. That's kind of been my I love push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups. I love doing body weight stuff. But bench press and deadlift and all that, they're a lot of fun for me. Do you have a home gym? Do you have a gym in town you like going to or
Yeah, I have actually. I was going to a powerlifting gym, which I really liked a lot, called Red's Kilo in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania. Shout out to them. But I just didn't have the money to continue with that, and then I got
yeah.
injured, my shoulder injury. So, so right now I have a gym called Refuse to Fail that I go to in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and they've always been supportive. They've even let me put a Armed and All Heart poster up.
Awesome.
Told them it's not about me. It's just encouraging, showing people that with the right mindset, that you can go to a national powerlifting event and do really well and use the equipment that they have there. And
Yeah. Well,
they
we
do
have
have also at Red's Gym. They used to have one of my posters up too, but I don't know if they still have it.
okay. We have a Trinity in Carlisle. I'll have to connect you with them. I can't speak for them. They'd probably be happy to hang up a banner or connect with you or see if there's a way they can support Armed and All Heart. They're one of our newest chapters, one of our newest Trinity Fitness chapters in Carlisle. And I was actually just there this past spring. I was there in May. I don't remember where is Carlisle is close where you're at. How far is it away from where you're at?
It's like well, 6 miles.
Okay. Okay. I mentioned earlier, I grew up right in the Maryland PA border. I grew up about
Fine.
probably a half an hour south of Gettysburg, about an hour away from Carlisle. So I'm familiar with that area. But yeah, we have a Trinity in Carlisle. I'll send you their information and it would be cool. Get connected with them and get some support from them or see if they can support you, you can support them one way or the other. Um, Man, I love your story. I love your. It's funny you mentioned that people have told you that you just seem like you have a heart for people, and I see that in you. I see just a kind of a loving and a caring heart, just your demeanor and the way you carry yourself, and it's evident too in your social media and your YouTube. I mean, I see your 2 months after shoulder surgery and you're laying in the hospital bed flexing and smiling, in the thumbnail and just that attitude is kind of infectious. What have been some of your, I guess, shoulder surgery, stuff like that? What have been some of your struggles in the gym? I mean, we all hit speed bumps in the gym and in life. Um, what have been some of yours? How have you overcome those?
Well, like I said, it was one of my struggles was throwing out my back. Did that a couple times, but on lightweight. But just went to chiropractor and got some massage work done, and then. But what really helped my back most of all was some. One of my powerlifting friends gave me some stretches
Hmm.
to look up, and he said these have helped my back tremendously. And so I worked those into my routine, and my back has gotten really stronger by having a solid warm up and really good stretches beforehand. And then, of course, I blew out my bicep on deadlift. And so what I did there was I relearned new way to deadlift. Instead of doing over under, I learned how to hook grip by
Okay.
smashing my thumbs between the bar and over my under my fingers.
Sure.
So that's how I learned. So I relearned how to deadlift by doing hook grip
Mm.
and gotten really strong with that. And then, of course, now we have my struggles with bench ongoing. Just started getting back to focusing strictly on bench and bench techniques and learning how to restructure my form and really focus on lowering the weight. Well, I have to build myself back up, but really, while I have the weight lowered, building my just really focus on form and building myself back up. Like you said, even the lightest weight we can get
Yeah.
injured again. So I just
Yeah.
want to really focus now with that on form and stuff. And even so, I've been focusing on other things to help with the bench because people have told me about push-ups really help
Hmm.
collate to bench. So I even just recently, this past week, have been looking at YouTube videos to redo my uh, push-up forms,
Mm.
so I can make those better, so I can bring that to my bench.
Yeah. Yeah, we look at stuff like push-ups and bench press and you think, "Oh, that's easy," but there's a lot more to it than a
Yeah,
lot of people realize with good form, and good form is going to help you lift that much more. If you can lift lightweight with good form, you can go heavier. And you know, I think in a lot of ways that's a kind of a good metaphor for life. If we, we keep good form and we stay in the word and we pray and we keep our faith rooted, deep, keep deep roots in our faith, the movements through life kind of get a little bit easier. Um, for you, faith, fitness, where are you at with faith right now? Do you serve in a church? Are you tapped into a church, a local church, or
I wish I was. I'm still looking for a good church around here.
okay?
I was involved with the church that had the youth center, but after their funds, really got low, and the people there just weren't, involved anymore. I just focused more on my ministry,
Yeah,
and then my wife um, went into another bipolar episode where she had to go to the mental hospital for a couple months. So I had to pick up my pace and start working from home. So I have to work a lot of hours just to make up for what she's not able to help with. So it's just been really
yeah,
tough managing going to a church and trying to keep working to
sure.
stay alive at the same time.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep you guys in our prayers for sure on that. And maybe, like I said, I'll send you some information for Trinity. We're a faith-based gym, and it's neat that we just happened to open one in Carlisle. So I'm sure we'll have some connections for some churches there if and when you're able to get back in, and hopefully they can connect you and find one. Um, well, this has been great. It's been awesome getting to meet you. I mean, I've been following your stuff for a while and had a podcast quite a few years ago and wanted to start doing it again and really connect with people in the faith and fitness community. Is there anything else you want to plug or promote or any message you want to send out to the world while we're here?
Yeah. Not really. I mean, it's funny. I get so discouraged a lot of times because I put so much into it. When I'm not working, I'm on social media trying to get the word out for Armed and All Heart.
Mhm.
It's still a struggle. I even try giving shirts away when I can, when I have the extra money from overtime and stuff when I can. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
but then it's interesting because God moves in great mysterious ways because it seems like when I'm at my lowest, or I'm like, okay, God, nobody cares anymore about Armed and All Heart. That's one day I get the message and says, "Saw your shirt. I just saw your YouTube video, man. I love it. Where do I get a shirt? Where do I? How can I support you? Can I send you some money? Can I send you some gifts?" And it's like, wow, okay, So it's yeah, so it's God still, even in my lowest points, it's like God's still showing up and showing that He's good. So I mean,
Absolutely. I think that's a great message. I mean, I run into the same thing at Trinity where we'll have, a couple people will leave the gym. They'll move or, they'll find another gym or whatever, and no hard feelings, that happens. And I'll get kind of low, and then all of a sudden 5 or 6 new people will show up and, oh, I love this. I love being connected to a community. We've got people plugged into churches through our gym, where they didn't have a home church, and almost everybody in our gym does, and so they get somebody connected to a church, and I love that overlap of faith and fitness. I love your message. I love your story. Um, Arms and All Heart seems like a very cool ministry. I mean, you got a good number of videos on YouTube. You got quite a good following on X. Um, I'll promote you, and hopefully some people find you and start following you and give you some support.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else for me?
No, I can't think of anything.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Brent. We'll have to do it again. This has been cool. Um, Armed and All Heart, guys, check him out on X. Find him on YouTube. And Brent, I'll get this edited and recorded, and I'll make sure I'll send you a link once it's uploaded.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.